I want to welcome you back into America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys formula and America's Medicare Associates. 419-794-3030 is the number. That's 419-794-3030. Online, arhq.com. I mentioned America's Medicare Associates. That's what we're going to talk about right here. Some of us might remember the old commercial stating, "It's not your father's Oldsmobile," when they introduced its new generation of Oldsmobiles. And I think the truth can be said when it comes to Medicare. What is the situation right now, Scott, with Medicare Advantage plans?
Well, that's I do actually remember that commercial. For a very, very brief time, I sold cars. I learned real quick that was not my gig. Actually, I sold Oldsmobiles, as a matter of fact. But it actually is kind of the same with the Medicare Advantage plans. I run into, it seems like more and more as I deal with more people turning 65, I run into more of the unease and well, to be quite frank, they're just concerned about the Medicare Advantage plans. The Medicare Advantage plans are private plans that date back to 1966. So that's when the first Advantage type plan came out. It was called a Medicare Choice plan. Okay. And that actually changed in the Drug Improvement and Modernization Act of 2003, and that's where they came out and they changed the name actually to the Medicare Advantage plans. And a lot of people are very skeptical of these Advantage plans, and they quite frankly say, well, I've heard from so-and-so, neighbors, friends, co-workers, that I want to stay away from Advantage plans. Well, most of the time it's because they're not educated on what the actual Advantage plans are today. Like the saying, it's not your father's Oldsmobile. It's not your father's Advantage plan either, I put together some bullet points here to kind of go over some of the things with the Advantage plans. Part C was actually created in 1997. So, as you've heard me talk many, many times, original Medicare has parts A, B, C, and D, okay? A and B are your hospitalization and your medical benefits, and part D is your actual prescription, but your part C is the actual Advantage plan. It was actually created in 1997 as part of the Balanced Budget Act. The Medicare Choice was renamed, like I mentioned earlier, in 2003. And what it did, the whole purpose of that was to combine all of the services you need into one option. Okay, so for example, your Part A, your Part B, and your Part D are all now part of plans, or Part C, the actual Advantage plans. Okay. Another reason why they actually created these plans was to actually lower the cost of care for seniors. Okay, and it's a managed care. Managed care simply means that it does have a network. They have options for PPOs, preferred provider organizations, or HMOs, which is your health maintenance organizations. Many of the benefits of the Advantage plans today that we have that were not included in the original plans, and this is where people have that hang up, right? You now get dental, vision, and hearing automatically included. Most of your Advantage plans today have a zero premium, where before there was some cost sharing with premium when they first came out in the late 90s when they made major changes. They did not have those benefits. So if you had an Advantage plan back in the late 90s, early 2000s, you wouldn't have had dental, vision, and hearing on those plans. Over-the-counter coverage. You can actually go to a pharmacy and get over-the-counter items as part of your Advantage plan. A lot of them back then had a $25 to $30 copay for office visits. Now those copays are zero. So those are big increase changes today versus where they came from. And a lot of them offer gym memberships. In fact, I don't know of any that don't offer gym memberships. Okay, so you can actually go to the Y, have a membership, and do your swimming or your exercising or walking or what have you, all covered under your Advantage plan. And then a lot of them now, and this is recent, as late as the last couple of years, have really enhanced their essential extra options. You can actually get a flexible spending card that will give you discounts on your daily utilities, on food. You can get dental, vision, and hearing coverage added. A beefed up like $500 card that has essential extras on it there. Transportation, all kinds of bells and whistles are now added into these Advantage plans. And I think one of the big problems is, we're all skeptics when it comes to what we see on TV and on the internet, right? And the commercials that you see where you can get all of these bells and whistles, the Joe Namath, the Joe Theismann, the Joe Montana, all of those guys are talking about these things on TV. I think people are just very skeptical of that and says, that can't be true. All of that is for zero. Well, it is true, but there are a lot of other things that are not being, mentioned in those commercials. So a couple of the major improvements for the Advantage plans are the maximum out-of-pockets. That's where a lot of people had problems, okay? You might have a maximum out-of-pocket of $5,000 to $6,000 and hanging over your head if you have any significant health issues, right? And I think one of the big confusing things is people look at that maximum out-of-pocket as a deductible. It's not a deductible. You don't pay that first. So those are some major differences. In emergency and urgent care, before, everything was network driven. Like the HMO and the PPOs, you have to go into the network to get the maximum benefits. Well, now, emergency services and urgent care is covered anywhere that you happen to be. I actually talked to a client here a couple of days ago, and they're down in the Tampa, Florida area, and they came down with some sort of an illness, didn't exactly know what it was, went to the emergency room. They were there 9 hours, not happy at all. And all of the tests and everything that they had done was actually covered under the Advantage plan that they have. So I think what people need to do is, before you have this preconceived notion as far as what an Advantage plan is, you need to actually seek some advice, get some education on what they are today. I know the people that give you advice and tell you you don't want this because of that. They mean well and they're looking out for your best interest, but they don't always know exactly what the Advantage plans are all about today. I would like to extend to anybody out there. I do a lot of educational events. I've got one coming up here the 21st for a lunch and a dinner on February 21st. And then I have one on February 23rd of this coming week. There is still seats available. We are pretty full, but we do have a few seats available for those events. This is nothing more than an educational event that will allow you to learn more about everything we just talked about. And once again, visit our website, arhq.com. Click on the events tab. You'll see that there's several different events scheduled out in the future for Medicare and the baby boomers basics.
It's certainly not your parents or your grandparents' Medicare situation, and there are a lot more options out there. It can be intimidating trying to make sense of it all, but it is important to work with somebody who is independent, who has access to a wide variety of carriers and can figure out what's going to work best for you. The team at America's Medicare Associates, Scott Kirshner, they can help you with that. You can give them a call, 419-794-3030, or like you said, you can attend one of the upcoming Medicare workshops. A lot of them going on in the next couple of weeks. To find the one that's going to work best for you, just go to arhq.com and register there.